Hey everybody, it's Master Aquatics. You already know who it is. I'm bringing you another video. Check it out, guys. So this is all of my food that I feed my fish. There are some that I bought that I only used once or twice and I don't use ever. I just keep them in my freezer because I spent a lot of money on the food. So I just keep it and don't use it. Um, but this is my inventory of fish foods, frozen fish foods that I have for my freshwater fish. And in this container is another brand of red bloodworms. I have 2 packs of red bloodworms, but they're both from different companies. Difference between this one and the other one that I have is these bloodworms are a little bit smaller and thinner, and I think I've had these for over a year now. They've just been sitting in my fridge. I don't like to feed my fish frozen foods too often, not as much as I used to. When I first got my angelfish, I would feed them frozen foods 2 to 3 times a week. As of right now, I just been feeding them mostly flakes, and the reason being is that I think it's just laziness, to be honest. I don't like taking the time to prepare the food and, go through the whole process, and plus, you might risk, giving them a parasite from one of these things. But if it all works out in the end, you have given your angelfish some of the best proteins and nutritions that you can. Feeding your fish frozen foods can benefit your fish a whole lot as far as growth and overall size in your fish. Now, I recommend that you don't feed your fish this emerald entree. I bought it because I wanted to try it out for my angelfish and they did not like it. That's mainly for saltwater fish. Brine shrimp, this is I would say this is a good choice to feed your fish. My angelfish definitely enjoyed eating brine shrimp. Now, the difference between brine shrimp and mysis shrimp is a little bit more. It's smaller than the brine shrimp. The brine shrimp are a little bit bigger, but I think the mysis shrimp has a little bit more protein. Now, this stuff here, I don't know if they still sell this stuff. I got this about 2 years ago and it was expensive. And I tried it a few times with my angelfish and they did not like it. They would not eat it. And this stuff really dirtied up my tank pretty fast. So I never bothered with it after the first few attempts of feeding my angelfish this stuff. I'm not even sure if they sell this in other states, but my go-to frozen foods are always red bloodworms and mysis shrimp. These are my go-to foods. Whenever I want to feed my angelfish some frozen foods, this is what I give them and they love it. And if you really want to get your fish or angelfish to breed and you want to give them that little nudge so they can go ahead and spawn for you, feed them some of that stuff. And I guarantee you it'll get them in the mood quicker than you expect them to. It's very beneficial. Now, what I like to do is I like to put 2 cubes in one small container and then I like to put water in the container. Now, since my angelfish are not that big, they're pretty small, I like to cut up my mysis shrimp and red bloodworms into smaller pieces because angelfish, they don't have teeth. So if they're small, they're going to go after these things and they're going to have a hard time swallowing the food because the food is too big for them. And even though it's too big for them, they're still going to go after it because they're retarded. But, I like to, make it easy for them. So I spent some time with some scissors cutting them up into smaller pieces. The next thing that I like to do is, as you can see in the container, the water is a little cloudy. This stuff can really dirty up your water. You don't have to do this, but I do this because I don't want to keep doing water changes for my tanks from overpopulating the tank with icky stuff from overfeeding or whatever. So I put the food in a net like so, and then I'll go ahead and run some water from the sink, and I'll rinse my red bloodworms and my Easter shrimp just a little bit. Kind of the same procedure like when you're about to feed your fry. You know, you rinse off the salt from the baby brine shrimp. This is the same thing. This is going to make sure that when you feed your fish, you don't foul up your water as much. And I will go ahead and just put them back in the container. And when you look at the container, you're going to see a big difference, and you're going to see, you know, how clean it is. Now, here it is. Take a look. Now tell me that doesn't look appetizing. If I was a fish, I would definitely go for that stuff. If I was a fish and my owner fed me a combination of red bloodworms and my Easter shrimp, I would feel so blessed and loved by my owner. Anyways, 75-gallon tank. Got my fishes in here. They're all ready to eat. I also like to fast them before I feed them frozen foods, because frozen foods tend to be a little bit heavier than flakes. When I say heavier, I mean they just fill them up faster. So I reduce the risk of overfeeding when I don't feed them flakes beforehand. And if I do feed them flakes before I feed them frozen foods, it'll be way in advance. So for example, you know, I'll feed them flakes in the morning, and then at night I'll go ahead and feed them some frozen foods. Otherwise, if I'm feeding them just flakes, I'm just going to feed them flakes 2 to 3 times a day regularly with small servings. And yeah, so they immediately went for it, especially all the new fish that I got, like, you know, the platinums. This is my first time feeding them bloodworms and my Easter shrimp, and they went for it right away, no problems. Black angelfish also went for the food. The koi did, the silver platinum, they all went for the food. And they were really excited when they saw the turkey baster full of food. It's been a while since I've fed them frozen food, so I don't really blame them for wanting to be eating some of this food that I just made. You know, Chef Boyardee in the house over here for these guys. And yeah, I mean, feeding them frozen foods is pretty much the equivalent of giving your dog a treat. Even though this is very beneficial for your fish, a lot of fish hobbyists will say that red bloodworms and mysis shrimp are like a treat for your fish. So it's like you are rewarding them when you feed them this stuff for whatever reason you want to think of for wanting to reward your fish. Or, you know, if you just love them very much and, you know, you can't stand being away from them for too long and you're very attached to these guys, then feed them some bloodworms and some mysis shrimp, because you want to spoil them, which is what a lot of people will do. You know, people love to spoil their fish. And this is my favorite clip out of the whole video, is my black angelfish just chewing up that red bloodworm. He ate it like a champ. I'm so proud of this guy. Like, he made such a good recovery. And this is my red koi. I would say that red koi right there ate the most out of the bunch here. Not that one, but the one before it. Although that one did eat a good amount. That one always has a pretty good appetite. And just watching them eat this stuff was really fascinating, and I really enjoyed taking these shots. I would say these shots right here are pretty much the best out of the whole video. So hopefully you guys enjoy these particular shots, because they turned out really good for me, especially when I was filming the platinum. And yeah, you know, I had to feed them about 2 servings of the mysis shrimp and red bloodworms, because the first time I threw in the food in there, they devoured all of the food within a minute or so. And, you know, that's the rule. If your fish can consume all of the food that you throw in there in under, I would say, what is it, a minute or 7 minutes, or there's like a certain time frame where if they eat all the food that you throw in there within a certain time frame, then you can go ahead and just throw a little bit more. Also, I forgot to mention, This is exactly why I cut up the bloodworms, is because this platinum right here ate a piece that was a little bit too big for him, and he's kind of struggling, you know, just to keep it down. And I always want to try and prevent that. And you know, like I said earlier in the video, that is why I go ahead and I start cutting up the red bloodworms, because I don't think it's possible, but they could probably choke on that, or something, or maybe they just might feel uncomfortable. But I definitely did not have to take it easy with these two guys. These two guys ate everything I threw at them, and they were just beasts. You know, they tore up all of the red bloodworms and mysia shrimp that I threw in there. And whatever went to the floor, they would eat what's at the surface first and then go to the bottom of the tank and eat whatever's on the ground. They did not leave one piece of food laying around. They did not waste anything, and they did not hesitate to, you know, get all the food that was at the bottom of the tank. As far as my fry, as far as feeding them, what I do is I go ahead and I get like a pinch of flakes, and then I'll go ahead and throw it in there. And they don't go for it right away, but I haven't seen them do this, but I'm assuming that whenever it hits the floor of the tank, they go and eat it after a short period of time. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give this video a like. Make sure to share this video. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. I post videos daily, so don't miss out. My name is Master Aquatics, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.